Imagine for a moment, waking up one morning, feeling just a little off, maybe a slight tingle, a momentary blur in your vision, or a word that just wouldn't come out right. You brush it off. Think it's just old age or, I must be tired. But what if that off feeling, that fleeting symptom, was actually your body trying to send you a critical warning? A message about something serious unfolding right then and there, sadly. For so many of us over 60, these subtle, early signals of a stroke go unnoticed, misinterpreted, or simply ignored until it's too late. The heartbreaking reality is that catching a stroke early can be the difference between a full recovery and life-altering disability. Or even worse. It's a truth that hits close to home for far too many families. But there's a powerful secret to protecting yourself and your loved ones, knowing exactly what those early signs look like. In this video, we're going to dive deep into 7 crucial early warning signs of a stroke that most seniors tragically miss. Understanding these could quite literally save a life, perhaps even your own. So, please, stay with me until the very end, because I promise you, there's something important to discover that might just surprise you. Let's get right into these critical indicators, starting with the first, and perhaps one of the most recognizable, a sudden change in your face, often referred to as face drooping. Now, this isn't just a tired look or a slight asymmetry you've always had. We're talking about a sudden, noticeable weakness or numbness on one side of the face. You might look in the mirror and see one corner of your mouth sagging, or perhaps one eye seems to droop more than the other. It might even feel numb, like your face has gone to sleep on one side. The key here is the suddenness of it. One moment, everything feels normal, and the next, something is visibly different. This happens because a stroke affects the brain, and the brain controls all the muscles in your body, including those in your face. If the part of the brain that controls facial movement is affected, those muscles simply won't respond as they should. So, what can you do if you or someone you're with notices this? A simple test is to ask the person to smile. If one side of their mouth doesn't move, or if the smile looks uneven and lopsided, that's a huge red flag. Imagine you're having a pleasant conversation over a cup of tea, and you notice your friend's smile suddenly looks a bit off, a bit distorted, almost like they're struggling to make both sides of their face move together. Don't hesitate. This isn't a moment for politeness or waiting to see if it gets better. It's a moment for immediate action. Call emergency services right away, even if it turns out to be nothing serious. It's always better to be safe than sorry when it comes to stroke symptoms. Remember, time is brain when it comes to stroke, and every minute counts. Moving on to our second crucial sign, sudden arm weakness or numbness. This is similar to the face drooping, but it affects the limbs. You might suddenly feel a weakness or a complete inability to lift one arm. It's not just feeling tired after a long day of gardening or struggling to open a stubborn jar. This is an abrupt, inexplicable loss of strength, or a profound numbness, usually affecting one side of your body. Think about reaching for your morning cup of coffee, and suddenly your hand feels like lead, or you try to lift your arm to wave, and it just won't go up. It's a feeling of profound heaviness or a complete lack of sensation, like your arm has fallen asleep and just won't wake up, but without the pins and needles. To quickly check for this, ask the person to raise both arms in front of them, palms up, and hold them there for about 10 seconds. If one arm drifts downward, or if they can't lift it at all, that's a very serious sign. It's a telltale indication that the brain isn't sending the right signals to that limb. Picture this scenario: you're enjoying a quiet afternoon, perhaps reading a book or knitting, and you go to turn a page or pick up your yarn. And suddenly, one arm feels utterly useless, like a dead weight. Or maybe you're out for a walk with a loved one, and they stumble slightly, then mention their arm just felt strange, heavy, or completely numb for a moment, and they can't seem to swing it properly. These aren't just clumsy moments. These are significant warnings. Again, the immediacy of the symptom is key. If it comes on suddenly, without explanation, It warrants immediate attention. This isn't something to wait and see if it passes. It requires urgent medical evaluation because the sooner treatment begins, the less damage is likely to occur. And that brings us to our third vital early sign: sudden speech difficulty. This can manifest in a few different ways. And it's often one of the most frightening because it directly impacts our ability to communicate. You might find yourself suddenly slurring your words, as if you've had too much to drink, even though you haven't had a drop. Or perhaps you struggle to form words at all, feeling like the thoughts are in your head, but they just won't come out of your mouth correctly. It can also involve difficulty understanding what others are saying, even if their words are perfectly clear. This isn't just misplacing a word occasionally, which we all do as we get older, or stumbling over a tongue twister. This is a noticeable, sudden change in your ability to speak clearly or comprehend language. It's like your brain is suddenly speaking a different language than your mouth, or it can't process the language it's hearing. A simple test here is to ask the person to repeat a simple sentence, something like, "The sky is blue." If they struggle to repeat it accurately, if their words are jumbled, slurred, or incoherent, that's a strong indication of a problem. Imagine you're on the phone with a family member, and suddenly their voice sounds thick, their words are garbled, and they can't seem to finish a sentence. Or maybe you yourself are trying to order something at a cafe, and the words just won't come out right. Or you hear the barista speaking, but their words sound like gibberish. This kind of sudden speech impediment or difficulty with understanding is a medical emergency. It indicates that the part of the brain responsible for language processing is being deprived of oxygen. And that means a stroke is likely happening. These first three signs, facial changes, arm weakness, and speech difficulty, are often remembered with the acronym fast face drooping, arm weakness, speech difficulty, and time to call emergency services. They are the most common and visible signs, but they are by no means the only ones. Recognizing these three instantly should trigger an emergency call, but there are still four more equally important, yet often overlooked, signs that could save your life or the life of a loved one. We'll explore those next. Now that we've discussed the easily recognizable signs of face drooping, arm weakness, and speech difficulty, let's move on to the next set of equally critical, yet often more subtle, indicators that many seniors unfortunately miss. Our fourth important sign is sudden vision changes. This isn't just needing new glasses or having blurry vision that comes and goes. We're talking about a sudden, complete loss of vision in one eye, or a sudden blurring, dimming, or double vision that affects one or both eyes. It can feel like a shade has been pulled down over one eye, or like you're looking through a fog that suddenly appeared. The key here, once again, is the abruptness. One moment your vision is fine, and the next, it's significantly impaired in a way you've never experienced before. This happens because the parts of the brain that process what we see are very sensitive to oxygen deprivation. If the blood flow to these areas is disrupted, your vision can instantly suffer. Imagine you're enjoying your favorite TV show, and suddenly, the picture on one side of the screen seems to vanish, or everything looks incredibly blurry, not just for a moment, but persistently. Or perhaps you're reading a recipe, and the words on the page suddenly become an unreadable blur, or you see two of everything. This isn't just eye strain, it's a serious neurological event. If you experience this, or notice it in someone else, don't dismiss it as just a senior moment or tired eyes. It warrants immediate medical attention, just like the other signs we've discussed. Next, we'll dive into our fifth sign: a sudden, severe headache, often described as the worst headache of your life. Now, most of us experience headaches from time to time, perhaps from stress, dehydration, or a sinus infection. But a stroke-related headache is different. It comes on abruptly, out of nowhere, and is often accompanied by other symptoms like a stiff neck, vomiting, or changes in consciousness. It's an excruciating, Thunderclap headache that reaches peak intensity within seconds or minutes. It's not a slow buildup, it's an immediate, overwhelming pain that might make you clutch your head. This type of headache can be a sign of a hemorrhagic stroke, where a blood vessel in the brain ruptures and bleeds. The sudden pressure from the bleeding causes this intense pain. If you're someone who rarely gets headaches, and then suddenly you're hit with a pain so intense it brings you to your knees, that's a huge alarm bell. Even if you're prone to headaches, you'll likely recognize this as entirely different from anything you've experienced before. Picture this: you're just sitting quietly, perhaps enjoying a cup of tea, and suddenly, a blinding, throbbing pain explodes in your head. Unlike any headache you've ever felt, it's so severe it makes you feel nauseous or disoriented. This isn't the time to reach for pain relievers. This is a moment to call for emergency help immediately. Our sixth crucial sign is a sudden loss of balance or coordination, often coupled with dizziness. This isn't just feeling a bit unsteady on your feet after standing up too quickly. This is a sudden, profound inability to walk straight, a feeling like the world is spinning uncontrollably, or a sudden clumsiness that makes you stumble or fall for no apparent reason. You might find yourself suddenly veering to one side when walking, or struggling to maintain your equilibrium. Even when standing still, it might feel like you're suddenly drunk, even if you haven't had any alcohol. This symptom arises when a stroke affects the cerebellum, the part of the brain responsible for balance and coordination. If you suddenly find yourself unable to walk in a straight line, feeling lightheaded or dizzy to an extreme degree, or experiencing a sudden loss of coordination that makes simple tasks like reaching for a glass difficult, these are serious red flags. Imagine you're walking across your living room, something you do 100 times a day, and suddenly you feel profoundly off-kilter, unable to put one foot in front of the other without staggering. Or you lose your footing completely and fall. Or perhaps you're trying to button your shirt, and your hands just won't cooperate, fumbling uncontrollably. These sudden changes in balance and coordination are not something to dismiss as merely aging. They demand immediate medical attention. Finally, we come to our seventh and often very confusing sign: sudden confusion or trouble understanding. This isn't just forgetting where you put your keys or momentarily losing your train of thought, which can happen to anyone. This is a sudden, dramatic change in a person's mental state. They might become disoriented, unable to understand simple commands, or seem utterly confused about their surroundings or who they are. They might have trouble reasoning or recalling basic information that they knew moments before. Their answers might be nonsensical, or they might stare blankly when spoken to. This happens when a stroke impacts areas of the brain responsible for cognitive function, memory, and comprehension. It's as if a switch has suddenly been flipped, and their ability to process information or communicate rationally has vanished. If you're talking to a loved one, and they suddenly become completely incoherent, unable to follow your conversation, or they look at you blankly as if they don't recognize you, this is a very grave sign. It can be particularly frightening because the person experiencing it may not even realize they are confused. You might be having a perfectly normal chat, and then they suddenly start speaking gibberish, or asking repetitive questions, or looking utterly lost. This type of sudden mental confusion or disorientation is an emergency. It's not just a momentary lapse, it's a severe and sudden shift in cognitive ability. Recognizing these 7 signs: face drooping, arm weakness, speech difficulty, vision changes, severe headache, balance loss, and sudden confusion, is paramount. Now that you know what to look for, let's talk about what to do and why acting fast is the most important step of all. We've covered a lot of vital information today, delving into those 7 crucial early signs of stroke that far too many seniors unfortunately overlook. Remember, we talked about the sudden drooping or numbness on one side of the face, how one corner of a smile might suddenly sag. We discussed the sudden weakness or numbness in an arm, where lifting it becomes impossible or it feels like dead weight. We explored the abrupt difficulty with speech, like slurring words or being unable to form sentences, or even struggling to understand what's being said. Then we moved on to the more subtle, but equally dangerous signs: the sudden changes in vision, whether it's a blur, double vision, or a complete loss of sight in one eye. We highlighted the sudden, excruciating headache, often described as the worst you've ever experienced, a thunderclap of pain that appears out of nowhere. We also focused on the sudden loss of balance or coordination, making walking difficult or causing unexplained falls and dizziness. And finally, we addressed the alarming sign of sudden confusion or trouble understanding, where someone's mental clarity suddenly vanishes. These aren't just minor inconveniences or typical signs of aging. Each one of these symptoms, especially when it comes on suddenly and without obvious explanation, is a critical red flag that your body, or the body of someone you care about, is in distress. The single most important takeaway from everything we've discussed is this: act fast. If you, or someone around you, experiences any one of these signs, even if it's just for a moment and then seems to go away, do not wait, do not observe, do not hope it will pass. Call emergency services immediately. That's simple. Immediate action can be the difference between a minor event and a life-altering disability. It's the difference between a full recovery and needing long-term care. Every single minute that passes when blood flow to the brain is interrupted means more brain cells are dying. Doctors call this time is brain, because the faster medical professionals can intervene, the more brain tissue they can save, and the better the chances for a positive outcome. Even if the symptoms are mild, or they disappear quickly, they could be signs of a mini-stroke or a transient ischemic attack (TIA), which is a powerful warning sign that a full-blown stroke could be just around the corner. TIAs are medical emergencies too, and they warrant immediate medical attention. Even if you feel fine afterwards, they're like a fire alarm going off, telling you there's smoke, even if there's no visible flame yet. It's natural to feel a little worried hearing about these things. But please, don't let fear paralyze you. Let this information empower you. Knowing these signs is your superpower. It's the knowledge that allows you to take control, to advocate for yourself, and to protect your loved ones. Talk about this video with your family and friends. Share this crucial information with everyone in your life. The more people who are aware of these early warning signs, the more lives we can collectively save. Remember, small changes in awareness can make a monumental difference in your health and happiness, and the health and happiness of those you hold dear. This isn't about scaring you. It's about equipping you with the tools to live a longer, healthier, and more independent life. It's about ensuring that you can continue to enjoy your golden years to the fullest, free from preventable complications. I truly hope this video has given you a clearer understanding and boosted your confidence in recognizing these vital signs. Your health is incredibly important, and being proactive is the best way to safeguard it. If you found this information helpful, please take a moment to give this video a thumbs up. It really helps our channel reach more people who need to hear this message. And if you have any questions, or perhaps a story about how recognizing a stroke sign made a difference for you or someone you know, please share it in the comments below. Your experiences can be incredibly valuable to others in our community. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more practical advice, encouraging tips, and essential health information designed specifically for you, our wonderful audience age 60 and beyond. We're here to help you navigate this incredible stage of life with confidence and joy. Always remember, you have the power to make a difference in your own health journey. Live your best life at every age.